first step of doing chile rellenos is toasting the poblano chilies on whatever kind of griddle that you may have in your house. You can even use a pan if you don't have a griddle like this. A large pan will be fine. And so what we want to accomplish is for the poblano chilies to be toasted on every side if possible. And so we begin on one side, and then we will rotate the poblano chilies one at a time, and hopefully we'll be able to get them all. And if you can hear, they're already starting to pop and make sizzling sounds, and that's a good thing. So once they start blistering up, that's when we start rotating them. So as you can see, we have begun to rotate the chilies because we can hear them sizzle and pop. And if you can observe closely, they're starting to blister, which is great. That's where we get the awesome and delicious roasted chili flavor. So while the chilies are roasting on the griddle, we should take advantage and start shredding the cheese. Usually in the region that we're from, we use Monterey Jack cheese, but of course you can always use whatever kind of cheese you like. And so just your regular traditional shredding, so that we can use the shredded cheese to stuff the poblano chilies. So as you can see, the chilies are starting to get nice and blistered. So it's good to just continuously rotate them so that one side doesn't get too toasty and the others don't get toasty enough. And that way the entire chili gets a nice roasted flavor. So once you begin to see that some of the poblano chilies are nice and toasted, just like that, we throw them into a thin plastic bag to help them sweat. So you can do this one chili at a time. If you see that one is ready and the others are not, it's okay. Just start throwing them in the bag and do a soft seal just like that. And this will allow the chilies to begin to sweat, so that when we peel the outer layer of the skin, it'll slip right off. So the next step is chopping up some onion. Now, traditionally for this dish in our family, we use a white onion. And the pieces that you want to cut are about this big. So on the smaller side, not a super fine chop, but on the smaller side, definitely. Because what we're going to do with this onion is we're going to saute it until it's translucent and sweet. So the next step is we're going to saute this white onion. And you can use any saute pan of your choice. And we'll saute for about 2 to 3 minutes until it's nice and translucent. So right when you see that the onions are just about ready, you add a little salt just to flavor it. And this is about the look and the texture and consistency of the onions that you want, so that we can stuff the poblano peppers. So now that the peppers have been left in the plastic bag to sweat, this allows for the peeling process to go a lot more smoothly and a lot quicker. So as you can see, all we have to do is just pull off the skin, and it'll be easy to open, and we scoop out all the seeds. Some people will leave the seeds in. We don't accustom to leaving the seeds in because sometimes they're a little difficult to chew or bite down on. So we accustom to just scooping out all the seeds. So the next step is that we take about a tablespoon of onion that we've sauteed, and about that much of cheese, which is about 2 small pinches of cheese. And with the toothpick, we will seal the opening that we created, and that's about ready to be dipped into the egg batter. So the next step is separating the yellow and the whites of the eggs, because we are going to mix the whites only first, and then we're going to add the yellows later once it's nice and fluffy. So we dip the poblano chilies into this kind of flour. It could be any kind of flour of your choosing, and we make sure that they're nice and covered. And once we've battered up the egg, we're going to dip these flour covered poblano chilies into the egg, which I will show you next. So now we are just beating the whites of the egg until it's nice and foamy. So I just want to briefly show that when you peel the poblano chilies, you aren't going to necessarily shoot for removing all of the skin. It's okay if there are parts, like you see here, there are parts where there's still a little bit of skin, and that's totally okay. We just want to get most of the skin off. And when you do cover the chilies with flour, make sure that you just kind of turn it where the flour is, because if you pull it from the stem, from this thing, and you try to flip it around using this, you might run the risk of this falling off and then it opens completely. So next, I just want to show you that we've been beating the whites for about 2-3 minutes, and if you flip it upside down, it should be able to just stay, as you see. So it's nice and thick, it's not runny whatsoever, and that's the consistency that you're going to shoot for. Now, depending on how many eggs you've used, it's going to take longer or less time. So now we're going to begin to add the yolks, and you can add them all at once. And now we beat them all together until our foam is nice and yellow. Oh, and the salt, just kidding. Thanks, Mom. That's my mom, by the way. She's been the one modeling her hands and helping us make this delicious recipe. So a little bit of flour also goes into this egg mix, just to help thicken it up. So about 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons, only because we use several eggs, because we're making a lot of chilies. But you'll see, depending on how many chilies you're planning on making, you'll know exactly how much flour to use. So now we're gonna mix it. So now we have mixed the flour, the egg whites, and the egg yolks, and this is about the consistency you want in order for us to begin dipping the chiles inside and then frying them. So now we dip our flour covered chile into the egg batter, about just like that, and then we put it into our frying pan. Now you can use a smaller frying pan, a larger frying pan, however you choose. In this case, because this is a smaller frying pan, we're going to do 2 at a time. And as you can see, the egg starts cooking fairly quickly in the oil. So at this point, the process goes really fast because the egg cooks really quickly. So we've allowed the oil to get hot, and this helps the egg cook fast. And since the chili is already cooked, we'll just flip them and they'll be ready to go. So that's a nice golden brown, and that's just about the color that we're going for. So we'll probably leave these in for about 30 seconds on each side. No more than a minute, really, depending if you want them a little bit more golden brown or not. But as you can see, this is just about ready, and we've only had it in for about a minute. So we just check to see if the other side is good. We like the color, so now we're just gonna take them right out. Try to allow as much oil to be released, and then we place them on a rack with paper towels to help us collect the excess oil. And that's the process for frying the chiles after they have been put in flour. So there you have it, folks. This is the final product. chile rellenos made in the style of northern Mexico, in particular Chihuahua. That's where we're from, my family and I. And we make them dry with no sauce and no toppings, just battered and fried. And we traditionally accompany it with white rice or orange rice made with tomato sauce and some refried beans. And of course, the corn tortillas. So I hope you try this recipe and I hope you enjoy it. It's delicious. And also, for those who are vegetarians, an option to use instead of cheese would be chopped up bell peppers, purple onion and carrot, or potato and onion and tomato, and you would use that to stuff the chile poblanos instead of the cheese. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you do try it, let me know what you think. All right, buen provecho.